Hello, and welcome to Real Estate Talk with Phil, the real deal about real estate. Your go-to podcast for everything about real estate. I'm your host, Phil Slezak with Phil Slezak Real Estate, powered by LPT Realty. Today, we're diving into a hot topic that's on everyone's mind: mortgage rates. Do we wait for rates to drop before buying a home? To help us answer this question, we have a very special guest today, Joe Larotonda, a seasoned mortgage expert with Mortgage One. Welcome, Joe.
Hi, Phil. How you doing?
Great, Joe. Let's start with an overview of the current mortgage rates. What are we seeing in the market right now?
Right now, the market's been pretty steady over the last few months. Mortgage rates are anywhere from 7% for conventional loans, down to 6% on some government loans. Um, and technically, yeah, we're not as low as we were a few years ago, but overall, over the long-term average, we're okay.
Interesting. Now, many people are hesitant to buy right now because they hope rates would drop. Can you explain why this might not be the best strategy?
I believe it's really the main issue is the uncertainty. There's no guarantee that rates are going to drop. In fact, we could even see them even rise a little further. Additionally, while you're waiting, home prices are continuing to climb. So even if the rate drops, the cost of the home itself could be significantly higher.
That makes a lot of sense. So, if someone waits for a lower rate but ends up paying more for the home, how does that impact their finances in the long run?
So if you were to purchase a home, let's say today, around $300,000 and just a fixed 6.25 interest rate, you would have a mortgage payment with including taxes, insurance. So let's just say PMI, because you're not maybe putting 20% down. You're probably looking somewhere around $2,200 a month. Now, if you want to wait until that rate, let's say, gets into the low fives, let's say another point lower, that same scenario, your payment would be about $100 or so cheaper. But we have to take into account that 6 months, a year from now, that house at 300,000, that may be worth about 315 with a 5% increase in the value. Now, another part of that caveat is that everybody that I talked to is waiting for interest rates to decrease. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to make that $300,000 house not only appreciate the 5%, but also now you're going to have a bunch of buyers in a buyer pool after that same house, which is going to dramatically increase the cost, as we saw a few years.
Wow, that's eye opening. Essentially, waiting could end up costing more. And Joe, as you mentioned, it might cost them more for that house. I'm sure a lot of buyers remember a few years ago, we had all those bidding wars. If the house appraises at 315, and all of a sudden now that bidding war drives that home up to 350, 375, that's going to cost them in the long run for that house. And that doesn't even take in consideration all the money they spent in those months for rent. What trends are we seeing in the housing market that buyers should be aware of?
Well, what we're seeing is really just consistent appreciation in home values due to high demand and low inventory. And the trend is likely to continue, meaning that home prices will continue to rise.
Thanks for the insight, Joe. Before we wrap up, do you have any advice for prospective home buyers who are on the fence?
Yeah, my advice is to consider your long-term goals and your current marketing conditions. While it may be important to get a good interest rate, the overall cost of the home and long-term benefits of the homeownership should be your primary considerations. If you find a house you love and you can afford the payments, it's better to buy now rather than risk the higher cost later.
Fantastic advice. Thank you, Joe Larotonga with Mortgage One. Thank you so much for joining us today and shedding light on this important topic. To our listeners, if you're thinking about buying a home, now is the time to act. Don't let fear or higher rates hold you back. Contact us at Phil's Slezak Real Estate to get started on your home buying journey at 919-607-4844 or email us at info@philslezak.com. That's Phil, SL, Slezak.com. If you'd like to contact Joe, his number is 919-696-6675. Thanks for tuning in to Real Estate Talk with Phil. Until next time, make it a wonderful day.